everybody, welcome back to our geography session. So this is me Praveen here to discuss chapter number 1 of class 12 NCERT. And in today's session we are going to discuss the first chapter known as, the name of the chapter is Population Distribution, Density, Growth and Composition. Now in this chapter we will try to understand about the population growth of India, about distribution of population in India, and what are the factors responsible for distribution of population in our country. Now what do you understand by the term population? Population मतलब हुआ क्या? Population means number of people in a particular area. Now this particular area may be you can say a city, state or maybe a nation. But in this class we are discussing here about population of India country. Okay, so let's start our class. So first of all we talk about introduction. Now when we talk about population of India, what is the rank of India in terms of population? So India stands second rank after China in terms of population. Okay, now we have to understand what are the factors and what are the reasons behind for distribution of population in our country and why the population of India is so large. Okay, now one interesting point here is when we combine the population of India, then the population of India will be equal to when you combine the population of North America, South America and Australia. Now you see these are the developed nations. Their economy is so high. इनकी इकोनॉमी काफ़ी स्ट्रॉन्ग है इंडिया के सामने, लेकिन पॉपुलेशन के मामले में इन तीनों देश के अगर पॉपुलेशन को हम जोड़ते हैं तब जाके इंडिया का पॉपुलेशन जितना है उसके बराबर होता है. सो इसका मतलब ये है कि इंडिया रैंक 7th प्लेस इन टर्म्स ऑफ ज्योग्राफिकल साइज एंड इंडिया रैंक सेकेंड in terms of population size. So you see how density is very high in our country. So population बहुत ही ज़्यादा हमारी country में है. And many of the experts said that when any country's population is high, it causes two problems. दो problems होते हैं population से. First one, it put pressure on limited resources. What are the limited resources in our country? Or what are the resources? We have land resources, we have water resources, a quality of air, forest, okay, soil, a good quality of soil. These all are called as important resources. Now when the population will be high, then demand will be also very high. So लोगों की ज़रूरतें बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ेंगी. They will construct more houses, and for that we have to remove forest, we have to cut down a large number of trees, we have to prepare land for agriculture because we required a food supply हमारे पास ज़्यादा होना चाहिए, तो उसके लिए हमें अधिक से अधिक agriculture land होना चाहिए. So whatever we have resources, that resources के ऊपर बहुत pressure बनता है. Okay, like in our country right now we are facing a water crisis. वाटर क्राइसिस की प्रॉब्लम हम फेस कर रहे हैं. इवन वी हैव अ वेरी लेस नंबर ऑफ लैंड अवेलेबल फॉर एग्रीकल्चर. मोस्ट ऑफ द लैंड इज कन्वर्टेड इनटू either into setup of industries or spreading of urbanization in our country. So large number of population put pressure on limited resources. Okay, second important, you can say a drawback for large population is it will create a lot of socio-economic problem in the society. Okay, so like many socio-economic problems in the country, like poverty will never remove. If population is high, then poverty will always remain the same. Okay, unemployment will be also high. A carrying capacity of any of the place जो होता है, that will be a suffer. Okay, so socio-economic problems like robbery, those vulnerable section of society, if they are not able to get a good job, अगर वो सही काम नहीं कर पाते हैं, so from there they will earn money. वो कहीं ना कहीं गलत काम में आएंगे. Crime will be also increases. Migration problems ज़्यादा होंगे, poverty ज़्यादा होंगे. Then a slums area you see in urban areas will be also increases very large. A very good, you see a graph here. In this graph, what actually you see, this graph of y-axis indicate the food, and this is about the time. Okay, x-axis indicated time. So you see, production always remain constant. Okay, consumption will be increased with passage of time. When population will be increases, then one time will become then where a consumption rate will be higher than production. Okay, and this will create a different type of socio-economic problem. This will be also a reason behind for spread of many deadly diseases. Okay, a type of diseases like communicable disease will be spread so rapidly. Health issues आ जाएंगे, countries में development नाम का चीज नहीं होगा. Okay, so these are the problems you can say because of overpopulation. So overpopulation नहीं होना चाहिए. We have to also want alternate method how to control a population. Okay, so very important this one. Now in India, we say that this is the our India stands second position in terms of population in world ranking. So how we calculate the population? हम population कैसे जानते हैं? You know, such a high diversity country, there are states and UTs. So how we calculate the population? So there are a method called census. Okay, the method is called census that happened in every 10 years. हर 10 साल पे सरकार के द्वारा जनगणना होती है और basically they count number of person in a given areas और वो उसको हम लोग कहते हैं census. Okay, now for exam point of view, a very important to know when was the first census took place in India. So it was in 1872, but there was this census was not a complete census because there कुछ drawbacks रहे थे, कुछ parts of India को cover नहीं किए थे. जो complete census, the first complete census in 1881. So this is very very important for your exam point of view. There will be a question in exam when India faced have the first complete census. So it was in 1881. Okay, now this is not given in your book, but I want to give you one more information कि ये census का responsibility किसके पास है. So you will see here, this is the office of the Registrar General. Okay, Census Commissioner. Okay, Census Commissioner, India. This come under Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. Very important. Maybe they can ask you a question in exam. Sometime, you know, out of book they can ask you a question like who is responsible for doing census in our country. So this is basically the office of the Registrar General and Census Commissioner. This come under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, maybe they can ask you Ministry of External Affairs, किसी का नाम दे देंगे, but you remember this come under Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, this is one extra information I just want to give you. This is not given in your book. Okay, now next one is distribution of population. In India, you know, like in geography, when you will read, we understand that rainfall is not same everywhere. Temperature is not same everywhere. Okay, because these are some climatic factors. Similarly, population is also not same everywhere. You will move southern India, you will find a different density. You will find when you will move northwestern India, you will find a less density because geographically these places are not good for agriculture activity. Okay, when you will move a northern plain of India, you will find a very dense population because of agriculture. Some historical reason is also there. Okay, when you will find a coastal part of India, then you will find a very population is high. Now in this image you will see the this is the map of India, and see this part of area, you will see how a population is so high. Okay, as compared to this area, see that the people are scattered here with very very small population. Now you see the coastal area, you see the coastal area, this is the coastal states from Britishers times, when Britishers came to India, they started to do a trade. So there are many port cities are there, Kandla port, okay, Mumbai port, then Hooghly, Paradweep port. These are some important ports in our country. So you see a density here, the Kolkata port, so density is very high. This part is also density is very high. Okay, central part of India, as you see, this is the Rajasthan area, this is the part of Thar desert. So Thar desert, obviously desert area, no geographical area for doing agriculture activity, but because of some government initiative like Indira Gandhi canal की वजह से भी काफी सारे population यहाँ पर भी बढ़ना शुरू हुए हैं. Now this part of India is the northern plain of it. This entire part is called a Ganga plain. This is called a Ganga plain. Okay, Ganga plain. Ganga plain is also known as northern plain of India. Ganga plain has very high density population. आज से नहीं, बहुत सालों से लोग वहाँ पर एग्रीकल्चर जब स्टार्ट हुआ था तब से यहाँ पर पॉपुलेशन डेंसिटी काफ़ी ज़्यादा है. तो कहीं ना कहीं विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस इमेज we understand that which part of India is have a denser population. सबसे ज़्यादा population किस part है. Now we can easily remember if you will find a question in exam, in which part of India you will see a very high denser population, high density population किस part of India में है, तो you can easily say the northern plain of India. Okay, then northwestern part of India obviously and the central part of India, you see a population is not as dense because of many reasons are like geographically this place are not good for doing agriculture activity. Also this lack of mineral resources, okay, lack of mineral resources are also reason, and also not we can say a terrain, or we can say a topography. In geography basically we use the term called topography. If topography is not a plain, it is not a plain area and it is a undulating, it's like a hills, then this type of land surface, obviously this people avoid to live in such an area. Okay, so this is image help us to remember population, which part of India where have a high population. Okay, now in India we have uneven pattern of population distribution. Population is not the same everywhere. As I told you that reasons behind here are very like highest population you will see in Uttar Pradesh have highest population. This is the chronological order. Maybe they can ask you a question, arrange the following state highest population to a lowest population in a chronological order. तो उसमें आप इसको याद रख सकते हैं, उत्तर प्रदेश, then Maharashtra, then Bihar and then West Bengal. Four, at least you should remember the four largest state, largest population states in our country. अगर ये चार आप याद रखते हैं तो यू कैन इजिली एलिमिनेट द रॉन्ग ऑप्शन. अगर उसमें ये नहीं दिए हैं, कुछ और स्टेट्स के नाम है, सो एटलीस्ट यू नो द सीक्वेंस ऑफ फोर, देन ऑब्वियसली यू विल एबल टू आइडेंटिफाई द करेक्ट ऑप्शन. ओके, नाउ very small population states like Arunachal Pradesh. Why this state you have very small population? Because of reason you know very well. अरुणाचल प्रदेश देखोगे बहुत ही हिली एरिया, माउंटेनियस एरिया है. अरुणाचल प्रदेश का अगर मैप में देखेंगे तो ऑल थ्री हिमालय, ग्रेट हिमालय, लेसर हिमालय एंड शिवालिक, ये तीनों आके मर्ज होते हैं. एंड दिस इज द एरिया वेयर ऑलवेज देयर इज अ टेंशन बिटवीन इंडिया एंड चाइना. बॉर्डर डिस्प्यूट्स हैं, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट रीजन है, so that's why people avoid to live in such an area, always problem रहते हैं. And geographically this place is also not suitable for in transport or setup of industries. That's why population is very less. And Uttarakhand is also 0.84% also because it's a Himalayan state and very dense vegetations are there. That's why people prefer to live in open area, in a plain area where they can do a business, where they can do a agriculture activity. If agriculture activity na karke, then transport facilities if good, then people prefer to live a particular area. Okay, so uneven distribution of population. Why we in India we see uneven distribution of population? So population is depend on three important factor. Okay, so first factor is about physical factor. Okay, physical factor like you can say that climate. Okay, climate of a particular area. Climate is in terms of temperature. आप समझ लो temperature उस जगह कैसा है, rainfall कैसा उस जगह का है. Okay, then topography उस जगह कैसा है. These are depend on a physical factor. Okay, then socio-economic. Socio-economic means opportunities कैसा वहाँ पर. If employment opportunity is very good, okay, health infrastructure is very good, okay, and politically a particular state where government is stable, government policies is stable, government is means understand the problem of society, problem of vulnerable section of society, then people want to live a particular area. And historical factors, like as I told you that northern plain of India, agriculture was started from particular part, and that's why the population of that area is still very high. जो एंशियंट टाइम से लेके आज भी के टाइम में वहाँ के पॉपुलेशन बहुत ही ज्यादा है. सो अनइवन डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ पॉपुलेशन इन एग्जाम दे कैन आस्क यू क्वेश्चन विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज नॉट अ रीजन बिहाइंड फॉर uneven distribution of population in our country. So remember all these three factors: physical factor, socio-economic factor and historical factor. All three factors are very very important. If you remember these three factors, then जो fourth factor होगा that will be a, you can easily identify which one is the wrong option. Okay. Then another important thing is physical factor of population distribution. As I told you, physical factors. So what are physical factors? Like climate. Okay, you see, high temperature, high rainfall is not suitable place. High temperature होगा like in western part, northwestern part of India, it's very hot. So obviously that place is not suitable. High rainfall, rainfall बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहा है like in Monsoon Ram in Meghalaya, चेरापूंजी in Meghalaya. This is the wettest place of the world. सबसे ज़्यादा बारिश वहाँ पर होती है, फिर भी लोग वहाँ पर रहना पसंद नहीं करते because rainfall is so high. और that rainfall बहुत ज़्यादा होता है and it is not good for agriculture purpose because that completely we in geography we use the term called runoff, agriculture runoff. All important you can say a nutrient of the soil is runoff. Okay, it will be completely you can say leaching downward. Okay, so terrain means like topography should be always a plain area. It should not be like undulating hills area, mountainous area, because this will be not able to do any agriculture activity also, and transport facility is also not good. Okay, and then water availability. In India case water availability is very important. अगर जिस जगह पे water नहीं होगा so उस जगह पे लोग they don't want to live. Okay, in today you know the migration issue all over the world, water crisis is one of the reason. People they faced water crisis and they moved from one country to another country. Like in case of Africa, in Africa continent you see entire Republic of Congo and entire central part of Africa still lack, they don't have sufficient water. So the people of that country started to migrate from Central Africa toward the Northern Africa. So water crisis is one of the major problem, not in India but we can say all over the world. And North Indian plain and coastal plains have high population because of historical factor. Historical factor. North Indian plains because of agriculture was more dominant in ancient time, at present time also more dominant, and coastal plains are because of we can say ports. Okay, sea ports था तो Britishers के समय भी they are doing export and import हो रहा था ज़्यादा, and that is the reason behind for we can say that transport port बहुत अच्छा था वहाँ पर. That's why the population is still very high. So if they will ask a question in exam, why the North Indian plain have high population and coastal plains of have high population, then what is the reason behind this? So reason is because of availability of the port, transport facility, historical factor and the agriculture one. Okay. Now some of the states where a moderate to high concentration of population. ये कुछ एग्जाम्पल ऐसे हैं जहाँ पर गवर्नमेंट अच्छे इनिशिएटिव लिए और जहाँ पॉपुलेशन बहुत ही थीन, बहुत ही कम पॉपुलेशन इनिशियल पार्ट ऑफ ईयर्स में थी, लेकिन उसके बाद गवर्नमेंट के इनिशिएटिव के बाद पॉपुलेशन वहाँ पर काफ़ी ज़्यादा बढ़ना शुरू हुआ, एंड दैट कॉल्ड मॉडरेट टू हाई कंसंट्रेशन ऑफ पॉपुलेशन. सो लाइक राजस्थान you know entire राजस्थान का जब भी we hear the word राजस्थान तो सबसे पहले हमारे माइंड में क्या आता है कि we understand डेजर्ट, कहीं ना कहीं डेजर्ट, गर्मी वाला एरिया, ठीक है, थोड़ा बहुत पीपल अवॉइड टू गो अ पर्टिकुलर प्लेस. क्यों? क्योंकि वहाँ पर का उसका इमेज ही इस तरह से बना हुआ कि पूरा रेगिस्तान, डेजर्ट, जैसलमेर पूरा गर्मी वाला जगह है. बट देयर पॉपुलेशन इज आल्सो इंक्रीजेस बिकॉज ऑफ इरिगेशन फैसिलिटी. इरिगेशन फैसिलिटी ड्यूरिंग द सेकेंड ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन के समय में ये हुआ था कि गवर्नमेंट टेकन इनिशिएटिव टू एस्टैब्लिश इंदिरा गांधी कैनाल, और उसके बाद इरिगेशन फैसिलिटी अच्छी हुई, एग्रीकल्चर अच्छी हुई, तो लोगों को उस जगह पे रहना पसंद हुआ. ओके, बिकॉज दे आर फाइंड अ जॉब. ओके, वहां पर उनको जॉब मिला. Farmers are prefer to live because the government is providing all the materials at subsidized price, so they prefer to live a particular place. So Rajasthan mein irrigation is the reason behind for high concentration of population. Okay, in Jharkhand also it is a Chota Nagpur plateau ka part hai. Chota Nagpur plateau is mineral resource part of our country here, and this is because of mineral and energy resources are very high. You see the coal production, coal का बहुत ज़्यादा production होता है, iron ore भी present है, and uranium, बहुत सारे ऐसे minerals हैं जो इंडिया के energy requirement को पूरा करते हैं, that all available from your Chota Nagpur plateau, including the state Jharkhand, and energy resources. So that's why the concentration of population is very high, because large number of industry will be set up. Industry will be set up like iron steel industry, like Bokaro steel plant, you see Durgapur स्टील प्लांट, ये सारे कुछ एग्जांपल ऐसे हैं जहाँ पर बहुत बड़े स्टील प्लांट सेटअप हुए हैं. सो पीपल विजिटेड फॉर एम्प्लॉयमेंट वहाँ पर जॉब लगी उनकी, देन देयर फैमिली सेटल्ड, स्कूल्स, कॉलेजेस, हॉस्पिटल्स, बहुत सारे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट हुए, एंड दैट्स रीजन बिहाइंड फॉर इंक्रीजिंग द पॉपुलेशन. ओके, देन इन पेनिनसुलर स्टेट्स आर ट्रांसपोर्ट इज द वन ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टेंट रीजन. Transport facility is very good from the ancient time. Chola Empire के समय से भी we know how Chola Empire was engaged with Malaysia, Indonesia. They have a navy facility, वो सारे कुछ थे. So ancient time से आज के time में भी transport facility काफी वहाँ पर improve हुआ. Okay. Now historical factors. Some of the states where historical reason is like river plains and coastal areas. Okay, river plain like Ganga plain. जो एरियाज हैं वहाँ पर एलुवियल सॉइल्स होते हैं. दिस सॉइल्स आर वेरी गुड फॉर एग्रीकल्चर एक्टिविटी. ओके, दिस आर every year your new alluvial soil is formed, and this is the reason why agriculture is more advanced here. Okay, and coastal areas are because of all agriculture activity. Development and transport network, like some of the states where a population is still very high because of development बहुत ज़्यादा वहाँ पर हुआ, इंडस्ट्री सेटअप हुए, अर्बनाइजेशन rapidly spread हुआ, and setup of large industries, transport facilities, because of geographically this place are very plain area, so road, railways, ये सारे facilities काफ़ी अच्छे से वहाँ पर setup होने लगे, and that's a reason why the concentration of population is further increases. For example, some of the states where a transport facility are very good and development is the reason behind for high concentration of population, like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Bengaluru, Pune, Ahmedabad, Chennai, and Jaipur. Remember the name of all these places, and why these places have high concentration of population is important. Okay, because they will ask you question in exam and you have to find the correct answer. Okay, then high concentration of population is, you will see, like industrial development and urbanization. These are the states, these are places where a population is very high because of industrial development. You see the place like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, these are the time of Britishers के समय से ही काफ़ी ज़्यादा progress में थे, काफ़ी industrially developed थे, and present time population is very high. And also the rural urban migration is very important factor behind for high concentration of population in these places, because rural youths are not able to find a good job, employment opportunity अच्छी नहीं है रूरल में, हेल्थ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अच्छी नहीं है, एजुकेशन फैसिलिटी अच्छी नहीं है, सो दे स्टार्टेड टू माइग्रेट फ्रॉम रूरल टू अर्बन एरिया टू फाइंड अ बेटर एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज. सो दैट इज द ऑल्सो रीजन बिहाइंड फॉर हाई कंसंट्रेशन इन दिस एरियाज. ओके, नॉट ओनली हिस्टोरिकल फैक्टर. नाउ वी अंडरस्टैंड द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन पॉपुलेशन एंड लैंड. ओके, कैसा वो जमीन है और कैसा वो जगह है जहां पर पॉपुलेशन कितना है, एंड दैट is the one method called density of population. So with the help of density of population we understand the relationship between population and land. कैसा land है, कैसा वहाँ का water availability है, climate कैसा वहाँ का है, and how much population, how much concentration of people are there. तो वो हम जानते हैं by the density. और density का मतलब होता है कि number of person per unit area. So obviously remember that density will be high in those areas where all the climatic factors, geographical factors, okay, then historical factors and modern factors like transport, urbanization, इंडस्ट्रीज ज़्यादा अच्छे होंगे, जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी ज़्यादा अच्छे होंगे, सो इन दैट प्लेस डेंसिटी विल बी अ हाई. ओके, so population versus land, this is the one important we can understand the relations between population versus land. So in India, as per the 2011 census, very important, as per the 2011 census, the density of India is 382 person per square kilometer. One question definitely they will ask in your exam about the density, most important question. As per 2011 census, किस इंडिया का डेंसिटी क्या रहा? ओके, so it was in 1951. Okay, 1951. Remember, India got independence. The first 5-year plan was started when Jawaharlal Nehru had a lot of challenges in front of him. उस समय इंडिया का डेंसिटी कैसा था? 117% per square kilometer. Now you see the compare 1951 to 2011. See how our density of population increased, and this indicate that India progressed. India का economic development काफी अच्छा हुआ. Okay, that's why the concentration of population was further increases, and health infrastructure, education was further improved in our country. Okay, because when I will discuss about the phases of population growth in India, we'll talk about what was the reason behind for a low population, because a death rate and birth rate both are very high, lack of medical facilities, lack of education facilities, lack of awareness among the people of our country. They don't know how to control a population, and that was the reason behind for high population growth. Okay, and see the 1951 to 2011 how the density of population increased. So some of the important factual things you will remember about higher density states, and these are the sequence. You see, Bihar have 1102 persons per square kilometers. So Bihar have high density. Then West Bengal 1029, Uttar Pradesh has 828, then Kerala 859, and Tamil Nadu 555. These are the two states, southern states, have high density in peninsular India. So density, why density is high? Because of geographical reason. Okay, Bihar have high density, then West Bengal, Uttar Pradesh. Then growth of population. Okay, population growth कैसा होता है? Okay, when we compare a population of a particular place between 2 points, okay, दो समय में को अगर तुलना करते, compare करते हैं, it was the 1951 population was this much in India, and this is a 2021 population is this much India. So when we compare this, then there will be some growth, some changes will be there, and that is called a growth of population. So change in the number of people living in a particular area between 2 points of time is called growth of population. Okay, and two components are here. There are two important components that make a growth population. One is called natural. Natural means when a crude birth rate and crude death rate, कितना बर्थ रेट है इंडिया में और कितना डेथ रेट उस समय में चेंज हुआ है, दैट इज इंडिकेटेड नेचुरली. ओके, एंड सेकेंड इंपॉर्टेंट वाज इंड्यूस्ड. इंड्यूस्ड मीन्स लाइक इनवर्ड एंड आउटवर्ड मूवमेंट ऑफ पीपल. ओके, दिस इज अबाउट द माइग्रेशन. मेनी ऑफ द पीपल will want to go outside from a particular area. That is, some push factors are there, like from rural to urban migration. Why people migrate rural to urban? Because there is some push factor. They don't have a good education, health facility is not good, they lack some employment opportunity, they are looking towards some better livelihood. So that's why they move from rural to urban area. Urban area provide a better job opportunity, education facility, health infrastructure is very good. That's why they started to migrate. Okay, so this is called induced factor, where a population is actually changed because of movement of inward and outward movement of people. Okay, so annual growth rate of India was 1.64% as per 2011 census. So these are the some important things that you should always this factual things है, तो इसको याद रखना बहुत जरूरी है. आपको इस पे कोई कॉन्सेप्ट लगाने की जरूरत नहीं है, बस you should write 2-3 times while reading an NCERT book, or then you will obviously remember. Okay, so 1.64% as per 2011 growth rate of Indian population last one century for distinct phase. Now ये हम लोग पढ़ने जा रहे हैं कि last one centuries from 1901 to we understand 2000 तक इंडिया में जो पॉपुलेशन किस 4 फेज में हुआ है. ओके, so how the changes was happened in every 2-3 decades and what was the reason behind for changes. Okay, let's see here. So first phase that start from 1901 to 1921 to 1921. Now you can indicate this was a time when Britishers present in our country. ठीक है, 1901 में 1905 में स्वदेशी मूवमेंट स्टार्ट होता है. 1921 तक we found our country politically it was not stable, still a freedom fighter a fight against the Britishers. ठीक है, तो उस समय इंडिया में there are a very less resources are available for spending in infrastructure like education, health. तो उस समय काफ़ी ज़्यादा पॉपुलेशन इंडिया का डाउनवर्ड था. ओके, so we can say it is called stagnant growth of population. Stagnant growth of population, growth rate was very low. Okay, growth rate was very low. Negative growth rate was measured in 1911 to 1921. ये जो decadal growth, ये जो one decade है, there was a negative growth rate. So negative growth rate, you see how crude birth rate and death rate was there. Okay, so birth rate and death rate was high because of medical facility was not good, and also life expectancy of people are also very less, and in this is called poor health services was the reason. Poor health services, medical facility was not good. Okay, pregnant women they are not able to get a sufficient nutritious food. जो चिल्ड्रंस थे उनके लिए न्यूट्रिशियस फूड नहीं थी, माल न्यूट्रिशन का प्रॉब्लम बहुत ज़्यादा था. ओके, इलिटरेसी वाज आल्सो देयर and lack of food supply and other basic material was the reason behind for stagnant growth rate during the 1901 to 1921. Then of 1921 to 1951 is the second phase. In second phase में India got कहीं ना कहीं आपको लगा 1951 इंडिया गॉट इंडिपेंडेंस 1947 में, और इंडिया आज़ाद हो चुका था ब्रिटिशर से. आज़ादी का समय हियर द स्टडी पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ, there is a population growth little bit rise करना शुरू हुआ because of improvement in health and sanitation. Government focused on improvement of health, establishment of hospitals in many part of our country. Sanitation was also government given more focus to sanitation and establishment of hospitals. Mortality rate decreases. Okay, number of death जो होते because of diseases and because of consumption of bad quality of food and water, उसकी वजह से जो डेथ होते थे वो कहीं ना कहीं कम होना शुरू हुए थे because people started to consume some nutritious food. Okay, and transport and communication system was improved because of this reason. Materials, basic materials now reached each and every part of our country and people able to access them. Okay, crude birth rate was also very high. Then you see the population size and growth in India. This is a graph where you see between 1901 to 2011. Okay, so you see blue one indicate the population of India. Population of India from 1901 to 2011 is further increases. See how it was first till the this time it was little bit a constant and then it started to rise. Okay, this is the started to rise and further it sharply rise from 1981. Okay, somewhere. Okay, and this one is called exponential growth rate. Okay, exponential growth rate in percentage term. So we can say that it was 1911 negative growth rate was indicated here, and that's why the graph little bit नीचे आया. उसके बाद growth rate काफ़ी improve हुआ. ठीक है, then it remain a constant here, then again little bit downward, then in 1991 to growth rate is now further decreases in India. So this graph indicate that how a population was increases and the growth rate is not proportional to the population increase. Growth rate means there are factors. A death rate decreases, even a birth rate is also decreases in our country at present time because of education was more improved, health facility was further improved, awareness program of the government for population control was further increased in our country, and that was the reason behind the growth rate is decreases. Okay. Now the third phase was between 1951 to 1981. So population explosion period, this is called population explosion period, 1951 to 1981. Okay, government started a program, green revolution was the time, our country became food sufficiency. Okay, setup of heavy industries, job opportunities was opened, so people are enjoying their life, and they are able to do a lot of work, and they are able to get their basic things. Mortality rate falls and high fertility rate was there. Okay, even some rural population is still, women are not aware about population control programs. Okay, centralized planning was government started, and that was the reason behind for living condition of people improved because of planning. Governments divided the plan into plan and non-plan. So plan expenditure and non-plan expenditure. So government more focus on welfare expenditure, and it was a natural growth. International migration also took place that time, and that was the reason behind for further population was increased. So population is not increased because of natural reason. There is some other factor also, like induced factor, means inward and outward migration of the people, and that was the time when India means received a migration from, you can see, Nepal, Tibet, Bangladesh. At that time it was East Pakistan. Okay, so Nepal, Bangladesh, high growth rate was the further responsible of here. Okay, and the fourth phase was called post 1981 till present. So it was a time when a little bit government was focused on how to control a population. They understand the limit to growth, कि कितना कंट्रोल पॉपुलेशन करना चाहिए, रिसोर्सेज के अकॉर्डिंग करना चाहिए. और माल्थुजियम थ्योरी जो आया था, he talked about the if population is not controlled then it will cause a lot of socio-economic problem in our society. And government started to spread awareness programs, slowing down in growth rate. It was result, a downward trend of crude birth rate was also visible, and marriage age increases. It was a time when a child marriage was बहुत ज़्यादा होता था, तो उसकी वजह से भी कहीं ना कहीं population means health of women was more affected. Okay, and female education was further improved. Okay, so that they are the main decision maker. Okay, so वर्ल्ड डेवलपमेंट रिपोर्ट, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात है कि वर्ल्ड डेवलपमेंट रिपोर्ट ने कहा था, बताया है that the population of India will touch 1350 millions by 2025. Okay, as per record of growth of population in our country. Now this is a challenge part of our country. We have a food security issues. We lack providing employment to each and everyone. Still we lack a good health infrastructure, good education, energy crisis in our country. We want a sustainable development programs that can give equal opportunity for everyone. So these are some problems faced by our country. So we should learn from other country how to control, and if we have a population so high, then we should have an alternate agriculture productions. Okay, smart climate smart agriculture, because of climate change जो हो रहा, जिसकी वजह से temperature बढ़ रहे हैं. So we want some drought resistant crops. Okay, we should have some irrigation facility like drip and sprinkler irrigation, जिससे agriculture production काफ़ी अच्छा हो. Then food security issues जो problem है वो काफ़ी खत्म हो सकते हैं. Okay, then in India we have some regional variation in population growth. So some states like you see Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Puducherry and Goa they have a low rate of growth, not exceeding 20% over the decade. Okay, these states are very good, well educated states. Okay, literacy rate यहाँ पर काफ़ी अच्छा है. That's why you see the population is not exceeding more than 20%. Okay, Kerala registered the lowest growth rate 9.4, not only in this group of state but also in the country as a whole. Okay, so this is a state from Kerala state all the state of our country must be learned the process how to focus on literacy, okay, how to focus on education के बारे में बताना है. So during 2001 to 2011 growth rate of almost all the state union territory have registered a lower figure compared to previous decade, namely 1991 to 2001. Okay, so it was a very good you can say sign that not all the states are doing well, but they कहीं ना कहीं वो सीख रहे हैं कि how to control a population, how to provide awareness of education about the control of population, and also setup of good health infrastructure in our country. Now most important part of our population is youth stage, okay, youth population is very important, and we also call this youth population as a demographic dividend. Okay, we use the demographic dividend word, that is working age population, and if any country have good working age population then that country economically will be more developed. Okay, तो हमारे कंट्री में जो यूथ पॉपुलेशन है काफ़ी ज़्यादा है, एंड इट यूथ एडोलसेंट्स पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ इज बिटवीन 10 to 19 ईयर्स के जो ग्रुप एज ग्रुप है उसको हम लोग कहते हैं एडोलसेंट, एंड दे शेयर 20.9% ऑफ द टोटल पॉपुलेशन, बिकॉज दे आर द फ्यूचर ऑफ आवर कंट्री, एंड इफ दे विल नॉट, देयर टैलेंट इज नॉट चैनलाइज प्रॉपरली, उनको सही दिशा में अगर अभी से नहीं गाइड किया जाएगा, सो इट विल बी बिकम worst problem in our country. Okay, so that's why challenges of adolescents population in society अभी के टाइम में क्या है कि that's why government should focus on those area where we can prevent them to enter in such bad habits. For example, we have our country, we have a lower age at marriage, 14 years 15 years. देखो कि अभी भी बहुत सारे गांव हैं जहां पर चाइल्ड मैरिज को ज़्यादा प्रेफरेंस दिया जाता है, सो इट मस्ट बी स्टॉप्ड. ओके, एनी हाउ इट मस्ट बी स्टॉप, बिकॉज दैट टाइम द स्टूडेंट जो चाइल्ड हैं उनको लर्न करने का जरूरत है कि हाउ टू लिव अ हेल्दी लाइफ. ओके, दैट इज द मेन थिंग हियर. सेकेंड वन इज इलिटरेसी रेट इज वेरी हाई इन आवर कंट्री. देन स्कूल ड्रॉप आउट्स इज अनदर प्रॉब्लम. कहीं कहीं बिकॉज ऑफ कोविड-19 के समय भी देखा गया कि मैक्सिमम पॉपुलेशन जो थे they lost their job, and many of the, because of online education, many of the students are not able to afford such a smartphone for online education. तो कहीं ना कहीं स्कूल ड्रॉप आउट्स काफ़ी ज़्यादा देखने को मिला. A low intake of nutrients, okay, lack of good supply of foods, and that is the reason behind for malnutrition problem is very high in our country. Okay, high rate of maternal mortality of adolescents mothers, they lack iron के content हैं, they are not able to get a good quality of foods during the time of pregnancy, and that was the reason behind for जो child और जो pregnancy के बाद जो बच्चा होता है that also not healthy, and that was the reason. High rate of HIV and AIDS infection because of lack of education, lack of awareness among the youths. They suffered such type of problems. Physical and mental disability is also, okay, social discriminations, okay, discrimination type हो रहा है. They are not able to get a job, तो कहीं ना कहीं they come under the depressions में चले जा रहे हैं. And drug abuse and alcoholism because they to fulfill their own demand, okay, to copy the Western culture, so they fall on such type of things. And committance of the crimes also, they involve in such type of crimes, and this image indicate that what type of drug abuse, social problems teens struggle with every day, depression, social media issues, academic problems, obesity, bullying. Okay, these are the some problems. So we should have to remove such things from our society so that the youth population of our country become one of the asset for our country. And for that government taken a lot of initiative. Okay, so initiative taken by the government of India for empowering youth. Okay, empowering youth. Our youth is very important. So in that case we have to improve their social condition, and that is the reason government started a national youth policy in 2014. This is important for exam point of view. They can ask you the year, in which year this policy was started. It was started in 2014, and main objective of this policy is to empower the youth of the country to achieve their full potential, whatever field they are means interested. Some of the interest in sports, some of the interest in painting, some of the interest in doing means some acting or singing, or they want to do some wanted to study more higher education. So they can utilize their full potential and through them enable India to find its rightful place in the community of nations, because they are the future of our country, and that's why their energy must be channelized in a proper and right direction. Okay, so National Youth Policy 2005 has defined youth as a person in the age group of 15 to 29 years. This is very, very important. You must know what actually the age group as per the National Youth Policy that define youth. This is not the only program that is started by the government of India for empowering youth. We have also one program called National Policy for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship in 2015. It was a program when government wanted to start provide skilling to youth of our country, so that they can able to engage in any type of industries. जो भी modernization जिस तरह change हो रहा, we are talking about fourth industrial revolution. We are talking about the fourth 5G आ गया है आज के टाइम में, artificial intelligence. We are talking about the robotics. So कहीं ना कहीं हमारे कंट्री में भी इंडस्ट्रीज जो हैं वो उस टेक्नोलॉजी को अडॉप्ट कर रहे हैं. So our youth should also learn the process of such technology, so that they can engage themselves, they can able to find a job also. Okay, so National Policy for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, it was started in 2015, and its main aim is to provide an umbrella framework to all skilling activities being carried out within the country, and to align this to common standard and link skilling with demand centers. So main aim क्या है इसका कि how to improve the condition in our country. Okay, then so population composition की बात करते हैं कि how we have a different types of population. So first of all, we know the rural to urban composition. So about 68.8% of its total population live in village. हमारे कंट्री में आज भी बहुत सारे मतलब मैक्सिमम more than 60% population still live in a rural areas, villages, and that's why empowering a rural youth is very important task for the government, or improving the agriculture condition of our country, so that rural youth able to get a better job, they understand climate smart agriculture. Okay, even urban population 31.16%, and India is quite low, but it's showing the much faster rate of growth over the decades because of migration बहुत ज़्यादा और rural to urban migration. This is about the rural urban composition. Then we have a religious composition. So in religious composition, we'll talk about the Hindus. So Hindus total 70 to 90% population हम कह सकते हैं हिंदू हैं हमारे कंट्री में. That's why our country called Hindustan. Okay, so there are some places in India where very less population of Hindu community, like Indo-Bangladesh border. Okay, Indo-Bangladesh border, that was East Pakistan. So Indo-Bangladesh के जो border हैं, like you see Bangladesh, then Assam, okay, then you see Meghalaya, Tripura. These are the states के जो border है India और Bangladesh का, वहाँ पर you will find a very less population. Indo-Pakistan border, because of migration of Muslims, Jammu and Kashmir, hill states of northeast like Nagaland, Mizoram, okay. And then scattered area of Deccan Plateau and Ganga Plain, where you will see a less population of Hindu, and rest of the India where population of Hindu is very high. So in exam they can ask you which part of India population of Hindu is very less, because ये एक यूनिक चीज है, तो ये पूछा जा सकता है एग्जाम में, एंड यू मस्ट रिमेंबर, दैट्स व्हाई आई हाइलाइटेड ऑल दिस प्लेसेस वेयर अ पॉपुलेशन ऑफ हिंदू इज वेरी लेस, क्योंकि ये आपको आइडेंटिफाई करने में थोड़ा दिक्कत हो सकता है. ओके, सो इंडो बांग्लादेश बॉर्डर, इंडो पाकिस्तान बॉर्डर, जम्मू एंड कश्मीर, हिल स्टेट ऑफ नॉर्थ ईस्ट, स्कैटर्ड एरिया ऑफ डेक्कन प्लेटू एंड गंगा प्लेन. देन मुस्लिम्स आर लार्जेस्ट रिलीजियस माइनॉरिटी इन आवर कंट्री, लार्जेस्ट रिलीजियस माइनॉरिटी है. And you will see the states like Jammu and Kashmir, West Bengal, Kerala, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, Lakshadweep, and majority in Kashmir Valley and Lakshadweep. These are the places where a population of Muslim is very good. Okay, then Christian population mostly in rural areas of our country, and we also see like states like Goa, Kerala, Chotanagpur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, and Nagaland. Then Sikhs mostly in Punjab and Haryana and Delhi. Okay, most of the Sikhs, and Jains in Rajasthan, Gujarat and Maharashtra, and Buddhist in Maharashtra. Very important, Buddhist very important. They can ask you in exam कि Buddhist के population सबसे ज़्यादा किस state में है, so you can answer Maharashtra. Okay. Now, so composition of working population composition क्या है? We are just understanding the population in a very detailed way. So this is very important, the working composition कि मेल फीमेल का कितना पॉपुलेशन में है. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू इकोनॉमिक स्टेटस वर्किंग पॉपुलेशन डिवाइड इनटू 3 ग्रुप्स, मेनली मेन वर्कर्स, जो मेन वर्कर्स हैं, देन मार्जिनल वर्कर्स एंड देन नॉन वर्कर्स. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू डेफिनेशन, हु विल कॉल्ड अ मेन वर्कर्स? मेन वर्कर इज अ पर्सन हु वर्क एटलीस्ट 183 days or 6 months in a year. So those who engaged 183 days or 6 months in a year, they called as main worker. Okay, marginal worker means a person who work less than 183 days or 6 months in a year are called a marginal worker. So it is important to note that proportion of worker in agriculture sector India has shown a decline over the last few decades, 58.2% 2001 to 54.6% 2011. Okay, so why the means employment, you see decline in agriculture sector? Because more people started to move towards the urban area, and urban area they engage in a manufacturing sector, or by having a very good education they engage themselves in a service sector. तो कहीं ना कहीं देखा जा रहा है एग्रीकल्चर के समय में एग्रीकल्चर के जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट रेशियो है वो कहीं ना कहीं डिक्रीज कर रहा है एंड इंक्रीजेज इन अ पार्ट ऑफ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड सर्विस सेक्टर. ओके, now the promoting gender sensitivity through the beti bachao beti padhao social campaign is very important. Okay, for gender discrimination is crime against humanity, because you know the gender boys girls hona ye, this is the biological reason, but this biological reason sometime become very difficult in our society, and this is the objective of this initiative are prevention of gender bias, sex selective elimination. Okay, sex selective elimination hona ko khatam karna. Second one is called ensuring survival and protection of the girl child, because these girl childs are very very important, they are the main nation building. Okay, and ensuring education and participation of their girl child. So this all campaign come under the beti bachao beti padhao. Now occupational categories, as this is again important for exam point of view. So the 2011 census has divided the working population of India into 4 major categories. The first is cultivator, agricultural laborers, okay, household industrial worker and other worker. This is maybe they can ask you this in exam ki how means as per 2011 what are the different category of occupational categories. So occupational category kya kya होगी? Cultivators, okay, agricultural laborers, household industrial workers and other workers. Okay, so this is all for the class 12 NCERT. This is the finished of the first chapter. I hope this chapter will give you a very detailed understanding of the chapter. This video will help you, and read it again the chapter and watch the video and try to solve MCQ. Okay, so we'll meet you in the next video to discuss second chapter of class 12 NCERT. Okay, thank you, bye, take care.